Guys, what's up? Hey, I came across some really interesting shit. This is from, because the success stuff, I like to take my information from sources that are authorities on I kind of put my spin on it and translate it into my way of getting it out to you. But, I like to kind of look at people, this one dude, what's his name? Bill Gates. Yeah, I guess he's like the richest guy in the world or something. So I figure, he probably knows what he's talking about on this shit. So I talk about dreams. I talk about the overall dream, the importance of the dream, the vision. But, I also am getting a lot out of Bill Gates. He knows what he's doing, so I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to take what he's saying and kind of at least take a look at it. He's like, this is kind of the idea of like knowing what the vision is, but then having your boots on the ground, being down there, just head down, just doing it as best you can. And basically what I gather is that they were pretty much doing their thing since the 80s. He said up until 96 is when they finally, 95 or 96, they finally looked up and realized that Microsoft revolutionized the software industry in the world. But before that, I just find it interesting that he's saying that basically they had their heads down, just working, just doing their thing as best they could that whole time. And that's sometimes what you got to do. It's having the vision is important and planning for the future, but when you're in it to win it, sometimes what you do is, I guess, basically you set the course of the ship and then you proceed to carry out the ship's duties. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on a ship. So you do it, and then next thing you know, you're there at your destination when you look up. That's kind of what it is. Or if you're in the middle of a war, and let's say it's like World War I or some old school war, and you're out there, or the Romans, like some kind of 300 shit, you're out there just in the heat of battle, dusty, killing everybody you can, just friggin' jabbing them with a spear right in the stomach and all that, cutting their heads off and shit. And then, you look up, and after a while you look up and you realize fucking, like we basically killed everybody. I guess we won the shit, and the dust kind of settles, and then that's sort of just kind of a way to, that's just telling the story of Microsoft, the beginning of Microsoft, and how that's sort of like, it's interesting to see him talk about that, because I was not aware of that fact of, sometimes you just get your head down and you just sit there and you just do your thing, man. You go to battle and you just produce your product and create value for the customer. Next thing you know, you look up and you're just like on top. It just goes along with the whole, being pathetic just being hopelessly optimistic in the beginning, and maybe being kind of janky and pathetic, and people are sort of, it's just the way that Microsoft does its thing. All companies are different and they have different ways of doing things, but this is the way Microsoft did it, and it really does fit it. It seems like a really Bill Gates way to, he just like, Microsoft has there's a lot you can learn from Microsoft. It ain't no joke. Bill Gates ain't no joke, dude. He ain't no little punk sitting there just talking shit or whatever. He's not some internet troll, So yeah, there you go. That's Bill Gates and basically what his take is on his story of the early days of Microsoft.